from Florida, and welcome back to State of My Art podcast. My name is Mike Liorti, and I am your tall, friendly musical host. This podcast is brought to you by the greatest vocal remedy on the planet, Vocal Ease. It's an all-natural throat spray. You just spray it in the back of your throat. They've helped me so much over the years. Let them help you. Get 15% off your Vocal Ease order by clicking this link above my head. I'll leave it in the description as well if you're not watching this video podcast on YouTube. On this week's episode, we talk with Kurt and Peter of the Montreal-based pop rock powerhouse Reston. We dive into their vision, influences, and team behind their debut album. We also chat about what some of our favorite artists are doing during the COVID lockdown and what we can learn from them. If you think I talk like a hockey player, Kurt may have me beat. My conversation with Kurt Reston and Peter Powers happened on October 4th, 2020. All right, boys. Well, welcome to State of My Art podcast here. You guys are in Quebec, but what city is that you're in right now?
We're in Montreal. Yeah, we're just on the island, baby.
in the beautiful red zone. We're
in the red zone. We're in the red, yeah.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining me, Kurt Reston and Peter Powers.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, congratulations, you guys, on the new album. I listened to it several times. It's awesome. It's really catchy. It sounds great.
Thank you.
You guys did a great job, so congrats.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Glad you like it.
Yeah, for sure. So who did you guys end up mixing with? Because I know you guys were asking, you were asking me, what are some good mixing options?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we ended up going with Matthias Schneeberger in LA. He was a friend of my uncle's, and he hooked us up and went with him for the mixing. And then we switched. We got with Howie Weinberg for mastering.
Yeah, it sounds incredible.
So we got a pretty powerful duo there.
Nice, yeah. That's the way to do it. I always tell everyone that's where you got to invest. Is go with the experienced pro ears for mixing and mastering, and you could get away with quite a bit with as long as you isolate all your tracks, so that they can tweak everything to be exactly how they want it and how essentially you want it.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like that's what you guys did.
Yeah, well, so we actually recorded it at our drummer's studio. Matt knows it. He has a studio called Avebury. It's in the West Island here in Montreal, and so we went to his place. He's been doing it for years, so he's a real pro. He knows exactly what we need. And just laid everything down with him, took the time, just made sure everything was perfect. And then once we had all the tracks, we were ready to go. We could literally send it to anybody, and, anyone who knew what they were doing, they could take care of it, no problem. So we were really lucky to have Matt, at least, for for the recording process.
Dude, that is such a benefit, especially these days, to have someone on your team that knows how to record and understands even just the slightest bit of production. You guys, you save so much money, and the biggest thing is they're in the band, so they really care.
Exactly.
Nothing worse than getting a decent deal with a good producer, but they're like, I don't even know if this will reach 1,000 plays. Why do I even care?
Yeah, exactly. It's honestly a huge bonus having him in the band, and he's also in the band, great friend too. It's not like he's not like a session musician for us either. It's like we've been friends forever. So
yeah, to have the producer in the actual band is insane, and the fact that he was the first to record his tracks too. Yeah. He was recording the drums, and then that's what we used as a basis to record everything else. Not only was he a great producer, but he laid the base for us to record the rest of the album. He laid the foundation too, which is pretty good.
And he put everything into it. He heart and soul and everything.
Yeah.
He really gave it his all. So it's all we could ask for, really.
Nice. Well, you guys are lucky because now we have the presence of Smokey Liorti here.
Smokey or Snooky?
Smokey Liorti.
Smokey, a.k.a. Mokers. Okay, Smokey.
There he goes. The legend himself.
We've been blessed.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys again for joining me. This is like a cool reuniting for me and Kurt, because every time I'm over at at that shed, I feel like I'm part of the family. I'm so welcome. You guys are so
anytime.
Kind and hospitable, and yeah, it's good to see you again, and I hope the family's doing well over there.
Yeah, everyone's doing great over here, man. And you know what? You're always welcome. Anytime you come in here, you're always welcome here, you know. And yeah, it really is. It's a reconnection for sure. I miss playing those old shows with you back in the day, A2K Rosedale days. Whew, brings back memories.
Yeah, I still have the toque, the beanie, the toque as we call it here in Canada, the A2K toque. And yeah, man, I miss Piranha Bar, and I can't wait to see your guys' show with these songs. Have you guys played any shows since the? I guess since the album came out, everything's been shut down, right?
Yeah, we haven't played any shows since the album came out. We had one set up that fell through because again of COVID. So we were kind of dying to play a show. But yeah, no, we haven't played anything since last year, really, since COVID hit. So we're dying to get back into it.
I mean, that's all right, though. I feel like that it's kind of working out for new bands like yourselves, because you have all this time for people to... you basically have all this time to combine press, whatever press you can get, like being on a podcast, and use it as sort of ammo to get everyone stoked on your songs. And then once they are, you can come back and have this strong album release when hopefully people are very... I feel like people are going to be more passionate about music once all of this is over, live music especially. So, you know, if you could round up a big Montreal following that only hears about you through, you know, doing a podcast or posting a live stream or something, when you go back to playing at Piranha Bar, hopefully they're really stoked to come out and see it, and they're like, I know every word to every song. Whereas usually it's kind of the other way around for new DIY independent artists, especially. You know, you'll tour around, you'll play local shows, and hopefully pick up a bunch of new fans that night, and then they go home and learn your record, and then hopefully they come back. But sometimes they might feel like, well, I went to his last show a month ago, so I don't need to go see this show. Or is that? Hopefully that's not the case anymore. Hopefully this is all like building up to be one super explosive show for your guys' epic album that you just put out, you know?
Yeah, no, it's been kind of like double-edged sword, you know. It's been good, it's been bad. We do have a lot of time to like work on a lot of stuff, write music too, like write new stuff even, and it gave us a lot of time to really like work on putting the finishing touches on the album, you know. But yeah, as for playing shows and like building the fan base, you know, it's with social media too, it's having a good group of friends and a good group of like followers to start, you know, at least even from our like A2K days back in the day, and just people who are like interested in our music. It's, you know, we have like they will definitely support, you know, and they'll share all of our stuff, and they'll, you know, spam it on social media and everything. And it's really, you know, right now, because all people can really do is listen to music. Like no one can go see shows, you know. And like what you were saying, going to see a band, like, oh, I saw them a month ago, I don't know if I want to see them again like now, you know. With this, it's kind of like with COVID, I mean, it's kind of like just building the tension. It's just constantly building and building, and you're like, I just want to go play a show, and people are like, I just want to go see a show, you know. And when, you know, we're getting really lucky. We've had a couple good opportunities pop up because of the album, where we're on three different radio stations here in Montreal, and you know, we're really, really lucky and happy to be on both of them, all three of them. And it's like, you know, just listen to people. That's all they can do right now is just listen to music, you know, and hopefully that helps build a little base here at least, so that when we can start playing again, we could just jump right back into it, you know, and jump into a crowd with people singing our songs back at us, which would be insane. First of all, it'd be great to have a show like that.
And just like the amount of feedback we've been getting from the album is so overwhelming. And you know, we had that show that was planned last weekend, which got shut down because of COVID, sadly. And like we had so many people that said they wanted to go, so many people that said they wanted to buy the tickets, and it might be a mix of people, wanting to go to a show and at the same time wanting to hear our music, which is something we can use to our advantage as well. People's like wanting to go see concerts right now, but we've got really good feedback, and it was a really good. I was surprised at the amount of people that kept asking me, like, where can I buy people, like. For me, it was I remember getting like texts from numbers that I didn't have saved on my phone. It's like, yo, where can I buy a ticket? And I'm like, who's this? Oh, it's this guy from work and here and there. And I was like, oh shit, okay. I didn't even know you were interested in this. Like, I didn't even have your number.
Yeah, like, honestly, people have just been coming out of nowhere, like, people I haven't spoken to in years since I was, like 15, 14 years old have been sending us messages like, hey, love the new album, listen to it, like, all the way through. It sounds awesome. I'm like, oh, my God, thank you so much. I haven't heard from you in forever. It's nice, it's cool to get that feedback from people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, actually, and yesterday I was at a wedding, an illegal wedding here in Montreal. You're not supposed to have them, but I was
that part out.
Yeah, right. I was at a wedding, and like I was in charge of the music. It was a really tiny wedding. We were just like 20 people. It was just very intimate, and I was in charge of the music. And so at some point they were like, play your album, play Kurt Reston. So I was playing the music, and this one guy who's really into music, he kept listening. He was like, okay, in this song it's like just like Fall Out Boy, but I can also hear some some Green Day, but like late Green Day, and then this song, and he kept just going crazy over every song, and everybody was loving it. It's just such good reception.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like to put a positive spin on this whole COVID thing, it's kind of been easier to go more universal with your music too. Because, I mean, also that's really great that you guys are on local radio stations too. Mm-hmm. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
But what I mean is, like, you post a show poster, show flyer for your album release in Montreal or in Quebec City or in Ottawa, and it's really hard to get people in Vancouver or San Diego to pay attention to that, right? Mm-hmm. But hopefully, just chilling at home, working on your online presence and your marketing and promoting this thing and press, you're able to capture the interest of someone across the pond or on the other side of the continent, because it's like, hey, good music is good music. I'm going to check this out. No, I can't make the show in Montreal, but I'm going to add this to my favorite playlist, which hopefully, my few fans that are checking this out feel obligated to do as well or inspired to do.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of social media, right? It's like I have so much family like in Europe and Spain and everything, and then they're going crazy about it, and then they're sharing it over in Europe, and it's like it's sharing over there, and they're sharing in the States, and there's just, that's the beauty of just, as many downsides as there are to social media, that's one of the big positives for sure.
For sure, yeah. It's hard to ignore the downsides, especially during all this political turmoil time. Every 4 years we got to go through everybody pushing music as a second priority, even if it is their favorite thing, and politics kind of becomes the mainstream media. I feel like it has in the last 8 years anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
But, people aren't going to bail on checking out Kurt Reston or your album release show, because the show's canceled anyway, and eventually you got to get sick of hearing what CNN and Fox News are shoving on your news feeds, and through other people, unfortunately, through your friends. It's like, I don't need to hear any more about this.
Honestly,
can someone just send me like a podcast? Yes, something that is not relevant to these political things that I don't care about at all.
Yeah. Everybody's got to make lines everywhere with this whole COVID thing. So while you're in line, you just pop some earphones in, you pop the Kurt Reston album, waiting in line at the supermarket. That's all good. You put your earphones in, you listen to some Kurt Reston.
That's true. I was actually listening to the album for the first time while I was just shooting some basketball, something I haven't done in a very long time. But I was like, you know what? I found my basketball, found my pump, and just threw on
wireless Westone in-ears, and something that I probably didn't even exist the last time I played basketball. Wireless headphones. You can just run around and hear music. Another benefit to our crazy advanced technological world that we're in is you can just pop in AirPods or Bluetooth headphones and listen to a lot of great music that was recorded by one of the band members in his bedroom studio that was mixed by a professional and sounds amazing.
Yeah, literally. But I don't know. It's a perfect time, like right now, especially to just discover new music too, like everyone's just, that's what people are doing. They're just playlists, like everyone's home. No one really has anything to do. They'll go on walks now or drives, and they'll just put on a playlist and see what happens. Like I've found a bunch of new music that I'd never listened to before, just like listening random Spotify playlists, and even when you have like little gatherings with a friend or whatever, and then they also are finding new music, and then it's just constantly like it's a big network of new music. So that's also really cool. But that's what like a positive thing that COVID's kind of brought, I guess. Like it gives people a lot of time to discover,
Yeah, and even in general, even if COVID wasn't around, like I feel like we're finally coming around to the new change of music distribution. Mm-hmm. Because if you look through history, first of all, music distribution is really not that old. Like only in the early 1900s did we start making vinyls, and I guess in the mid 1900s, and then that became cassette tapes, that became CDs, and there was always sort of this pitfall, especially in specific genres, between those crossovers. And now I feel like the last 10, 12 years, there's been a real struggle to, I guess it'd be like 20 years, to take what Napster brought of this of this music streaming platform where artists weren't making any money, and the old way of selling CDs dropped, so a bunch of people didn't really know how to adjust to that. And now there was this change in music streaming with Spotify and I guess iTunes becoming like Apple Music streaming, where there was a lot of artists like hating on it and just not sure what to do about it. But I feel like it's finally starting to make sense, where it's like, hey, there's no reason your great song shouldn't hit 1 million streams, and when it does, you're going to be getting paid X amount. So like, keep that ball rolling, keep up with your streams. And I mean, I'm still, caught on the fence of it, of like, how do you even manage this? I used to be able to go on tour and sell a couple hundred CDs on a small little tour and be really happy with the fact that the recording and the duplication was paid off. Mm-hmm. But now we can't tour anyway. So that's back to COVID. But also there's all these other outlets that are so much more manageable to create more streams and create more listeners and create a following, like a podcast. I don't know if I would have been able to like stockpile 60 gigs, 70 gigs sometimes per podcast onto a hard drive and then whip up an edit in a week and distribute that in hopes that it'll get my friends and myself more streams and more listens. I mean, that's part of the hope, other than like inspiring people to do what they love and all that good stuff. But it's like, I'm starting to realize that there's more to growing your music than just driving around touring, playing live shows, and working on your live show. That's probably my favorite part of it still. But, there's some back-end things that we're figuring out. Like, have you guys been doing any live streaming for the album, or with any companies that do that sort of thing? I know that a lot of people are starting to like go straight live streaming, Audio Tree styles, whether it's in a studio or on like a big stage production. Have you done any of that, or any like bedroom acoustic live streams?
We haven't really, like we haven't really done any live streams. We haven't really come in contact with any companies about it yet. Yeah, no, we haven't really even like I think we've discussed it a couple times. I always think about doing like little random acoustic like live streams in the bedroom and stuff, you know. Like that's always just fun to do. We have stuff on our Instagram too, like at Reston there. We have our like recordings of we have live shows on there. We have acoustic sessions on there, you know, all kinds of stuff too, which is nice. But yeah, like going back to the distribution talk too, is we didn't even make CDs yet.
Yeah.
You know, we like just how much has changed. We didn't make any
I was gonna
CDs.
ask that.
Yeah, we've
It's
just
all
been
streaming.
It's all 100% streaming. Everything online for us now because first of all it's cheaper. You don't have to spend the extra money on CDs
Yeah.
and you know like right now no one's working and budgets are really low.
Yeah.
So it's like it makes it trickier to you know put the extra money in, and selling CDs over the internet when you're not playing shows also is not easy. You know, it's just easier. Everyone's on streaming platforms now, so everyone listens to everything on streaming platforms. So
It's not to say too that eventually you won't. Like you could, you know, maybe once you get 50,000 streams or something, it's like, okay, now it's time to get some physical copies, whether it's CDs or vinyls or the complete other side of the spectrum, USB cards. I tried that. I was like, hey, maybe people are ready for the USB cards. I can put so much content on there. I could put the sheet music for the orchestration on there. Like I thought, I'm ahead of the curve. And they didn't do well at all. I maybe sold 20 of those. Like no one cared about those. I went through China, like I went through hell and back trying to get those things here for the cheapest price because they're expensive as hell to make as well. The chips and I got like the 2 gigabyte ones, which you could even just use as a flash drive. So I thought like, all right, I'm keeping up with the times and doing new things here. I'm doing like this show for me thing where people have to like pre-order their tickets and it has to reach a certain amount for their show to happen, which creates incentive to get their friends out to the show and commit ahead of time so they don't bail last minute. I'm fixing all my problems. Nope. It just, none of it worked. But you don't know until you try, right?
Exactly.
I would have been kicking myself if I didn't try all that stuff. And
a lot of it's experimental.
And at least others can learn from it here. Yeah. Back to the streaming thing. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's completely necessary. I mean, I'll do it maybe every Sunday night just to get. Well, I release podcasts and do things Sunday because I feel like there's way less competition. Everyone else is doing Monday to Saturday. And I'm kind of the mindset of, hey, I get the most interactions on Sunday, maybe because there's less competition. It's like picking the least competition hashtags, as you're told to do in marketing. Like, pick something where you're going to be one of the first things that pops up if people are searching that hashtag or if they follow that hashtag. I feel the same way about the day of the week. Pick a day of the week where no one else is competing. But yeah, I'll do those kind of live streams out of my basement, and I just feel like, what's the difference for people if I pre-record this and make it really good quality, and then just release a video that I whipped up real quick, and maybe even comp some playlists to be, nothing is a poor, I didn't sing a single line poorly because I have all these other playlists to comp through real quick. So I feel like a lot of the live streams are probably pre-recorded, and why not? Like, I feel like there's nothing special about getting an exclusive in the moment performance on your phone. I was talking about this with Greg McGowan from Time and Distance on the podcast. Is it like sports? Like, do we need to see the live stream in the moment? Or is it more like MMA or boxing where, do we have to pay for that ticket to have an exclusive viewing of the live stream? Or is it wiser for us musicians to just put out a pre-recording of an existing live show or something that we professionally recorded, back to Audio Tree styles in in a controlled environment and then release that to its best ability. If it's if it's going to be essentially a commercial, even a live stream is essentially like a music video. It's a commercial,
so promotional
right?
At the end of the day.
Yeah, it all depends what the aim is, what you're trying to do. If you want it to be more of like a live recording that you do beforehand and then you send it out, or if you want it to be like an actual concert and give the concert vibe, then it can be a real live stream, like you said, like sports. It all depends on the vibe you want to do. Everything's a bit valid. I was thinking of some ideas. Things like, once you start getting more of a following, you can do like a Zoom kind of concert, and you sell maybe 50 tickets and it's exclusive, but it's very interactive. So we can do like a concert, but then at the same time between songs, talk to the 50 people that are on the Zoom call and ask them questions, get them to ask any question they want to ask. So many openings with this whole technology thing and COVID that...
Like there's also like the different types of live streams too, because you got like the full band live stream that's like a show, like being at a show. So like you said, that's totally commercial, that's all promotional. Like, why not have the best show of your life? Like, why not record it the best of your ability, and just pre-record it and release a beautiful, like, amazing sounding live show. Like, that's at the end of the day, especially for bands like us that are starting out, new. You still want to be at the top of your game. You want people to perceive you as like, high end. But then there's also like the classic Instagram acoustic in your bedroom live stream that's really like personal and more it's nice and interaction. You get the interaction, between the people listening and you can stop and talk, and that's what's cool too. I feel like people like that, like, personal connection. But for like the big band live streams, I don't see a problem with doing a pre-recording of it and getting the best possible show.
The best angles, the best mix. No Effects just put out one where it was Weekend at Fatty's, where Fat Mike just had a bunch of celebrity, people in the punk scene over in his backyard, and they played live, and it was kind of this intimate performance of them being themselves, talking good crowd banter, jokes between songs. But what really struck me was like the production. There were so many camera angles. It all looked so good. The mix was real. I actually got it from a friend who was like, yo, listen to this live mix. And I was like, wow, this is a really good live mix. I feel like if you're going to do the full band stream, better to get it right and put out the best mix and production you can of it. But I also hear what you're saying about being in your bedroom and having an interactive conversation with your fans, and they can leave comments and you could say, hey, what's up? That's more of what I've been doing, and it's quicker and easier too. You just really turn on your phone. Even before I did my last one, I looked up how to plug in an external microphone, because I was going to try and like take the headphone out from my mixer and mic up my piano and my voice all nice and then feed it into the phone so that they didn't just have my room noise. And I was like, oh, I got to go like buy things that I've never even used or heard of. All right, no, I'm just going to do it this way. And I don't think anyone's really going to care that the quality isn't perfect. So
it's convenient.
I don't know. I'm digging for the answers on this. If listeners want to leave a comment and say what they've liked, if you saw the State Champs live stream, I get all these notifications from bands in town. So and so is doing a live stream as like a concert since COVID started, and I haven't really had a chance to check many of them out, but I'd love to hear what people are consuming right now in the world of live streaming and pre-recordings and tapings. It's interesting.
Yeah, like personally, I love myself. I love the shows that are intimate like that. Where it's just like where it's not the perfect take, like in the bedroom one at least. You know what I mean? Like in the bedroom, the Instagram one, it's easy and it's really cool to see, especially like big bands, you know, like if Tom DeLonge just does it, you know, and it's super raw. Like I love the rawness of it, and you get like the just everything. You get the pitchiness, you get the guitar, like you know, every little thing that's wrong with it. That's what I love. You know, it kind of like humanizes people too, in a way. And but that's what makes it so great. You know, like that's what just makes it so great to hear and listen to, is the rawness of the music. You know, and you just the real passion, not like the produced passion. Even though I love, you know, the records. You get the raw passion of it, you know, and it's like, I really like that personally. Like, let's see what people say in the comments, but
yeah, but then it's different. It's just different takes, and everybody gets to choose which take they like most. Just like for some artists, I might like an album track better or a live track better. It's like, I love this live track because of this thing the singer does in the middle, which he doesn't do in the album version, which makes it like more like raw, like you said. But then sometimes I just rather the album version. It's just you're given the option too.
Yeah, like me personally, for one example. There's a live version of Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls in Buffalo 2004, and it's like it's my favorite video, like live video of all time. And I love the song Iris, obviously, like I listen to it all the time, but like that video, sometimes Iris will come on my playlist. I'm like, I'm not really in an Iris mood, you know, like you got to be kind of in like the passionate, you know, and it's just like watching that live video, you can't turn it off. You're just like, if it comes up or you see it like come up in the suggested on YouTube, I'm just like, oh, here we go again, you know. Sit back, watch it. It's the rain and everyone's singing all the words and you're like, oh my God, I want this, you know what I mean? And but like, so that's just to go along with the you know, a live version of a song versus a studio version of a song. It's just, it depends on the moods too, but yeah, that's what, for me, that's like the live version of that song is just like blows me away, blows every time. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's that kind of stuff that keeps us going, that makes us throw our lives into this profession.
Yeah, keeps the dream alive. That's for sure.
Right. But yeah, that's interesting. You brought up like the Tom DeLonge interviews. Even like sometimes all I want is, you know, to see what the artist behind the album that I love so much has to say, we're talking about right now. So I've been actually consuming more of that since live music is gone. I mean, I miss it. I can't wait to go back to seeing Angels and Airwaves and Jimmy Eat World. But for now, it's actually really nice, beneficial, educational to just watch the Pass Through Frequencies podcast with Jim Atkins from Jimmy Eat World, and to watch just little side interviews with Tom DeLonge and see what he's got going on with his life right now. It's like we live in such a story-driven society now. It seems like more and more each year with technology, we're pulled closer to story, and we're let in so much closer to our favorite artists and celebrities. But then at the same time, there's also this like I don't know if you saw the Ernie Ball Pursuit of Tone videos or String Theory, either Pursuit of Tone or String Theory.
I haven't had a chance, but someone was telling me about it.
Like I'm loving those with, you know, back to Jimmy Eat World and Tom DeLonge. I'm like enjoying those so much and hearing them just noodle around with their tones and their guitars and playing their songs extra slow or extra fast, just alone, isolated, and then telling the story behind the songs. That gets me so drawn in. And then if they're going to do a live stream, I saw Chris Rowe from the Ataris. He was like, I'm a little sick right now, so I'm not going to sing. But he went on for like an hour and a half talking about tour stories and how much he loves this venue and that venue. And I was just like, you know what? I think I might like this than hearing another acoustic version of, you know, the Ataris songs that I have all over my phone. So yeah, I guess that's another scenes, benefit. You know? Yeah, exactly.
No, but I've actually really enjoyed that. I've actually really enjoyed that whole, like, you know, seeing artists give Zoom interviews, like FaceTime interviews, and it makes them so approachable, and, you know, it just, I like that. It, like you said, it humanizes. It makes you say, like, you know, well, I can do this. We can make it. Look at this guy, he's such a dork. Like, like, you know, who would have thought Chris Martin? He's such a dork. Like, whatever, you know. He's such a funny guy. You know, anybody can do that if you put in the work and the passion.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like there's a lot of us artists realizing how similar we all are as we watch these things, which is something that I'm constantly reminded of when I tour across the country too, and end up, bumping into the Arkells at the Holiday Inn as I'm stealing breakfast. And we just realize like, wow, we're all so similar, and the real lifers that have been at it for 10, 12 years before they even reached any success, especially, they sort of realize where they came from, and don't have a big head about where they are, and you're seeing that live over your phone now. So I think that's another really positive, healthy thing that the crazy technology of social media has brought to us. It's kind of highlighted now with COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the behind the scenes stuff too. Like even I don't know why. I mean, actually, I guess I know why. I listen to a lot of music stuff on YouTube, but the suggested, they come up. It's always like I keep getting like the My Chemical Romance in the studio recording their first album, or like Blink-182 recording their first album in the studio behind the scenes. I'm like, I love this. Like this is exactly what we were doing. Like, we were in the studio. Exactly. Like, does this sound good?
When I was much younger and I wanted to get into music, and seriously, and I was watching videos like them Crooked Vultures, recording their album, and it's the whole video about Dave Grohl and coffee and wanting fresh pots. And I'm watching that, and I almost, like, when I was a teenager, I almost wanted that more than to be actually on tour and to be on the album. I'm like, I want to make videos like these, in the recording studio, just goofing around, and I almost wanted that experience more than actually having a bestseller album or being on tour. It's like, this is the kind of thing. Imagine that being your job, going into the studio and making these kind of behind the scene videos and recording music.
Yeah, and having a great time with your buddies, like that's what it's all about for us, at least. Even in the studio, we're like, even if we're not recording that day, everyone wanted to be there. Like we all just wanted to be in the studio the entire time and just talk and like listen to each other recording. And like, so Alex, our guitarist, you remember, he was also in A2K. He came in, and he would, every time he came in, he would have like 8 guitar parts that he'd make up just there. We'd be playing along, he'd be playing along to the song, and he'd come up with like 8 little licks or whatever, and he's like, is that good? We're like, Alex, that was great. And he would just do it constantly, so like it would drag the process on, but it was so funny. And he'd be like, let's just record it, like let's just to have it, like we might not use it, let's just to have it, let's record it. And it's like every single time there would be a part where like, Alex, this is the part, he's like, yeah, but like what if we put this in the background, like what if we put this behind it, like just layer it a little bit. We're like, I love it. And, it's just the back and forth between the bandmates and just everyone adding, well, we called it flavor. Everyone adding their own flavor. And
because we all 4 of us come from very different musical backgrounds, very different musical interests, and it's really cool to see all that mesh in together, because all of us have a different, just completely different backgrounds. Like I came from more of an alternative rock background. I enjoyed things like Coldplay a lot more, and I wasn't a big pop punk fan. And then he's a lot into early 2000 pop punk, and Alex is very just straight up punk,
Alex is very
old school punk.
Matt's super into pop punk as well.
Yeah, I guess I'm the odd one out.
You're the odd one out. Yeah, I guess you're the most odd one out. But like as time goes on, you just learn to appreciate everything. You hear a song, you don't really. I feel like when you were younger, you get judged a lot based off like the stuff that you'd listen to. You're like,
imagine Coldplay being your favorite band.
this guy in high school walking around like, Coldplay is my favorite band. Now it's like, who cares, man? If you like it, listen to it. Like the new. If I was in high school right now, I'm like, did you guys hear that new Justin Bieber song, Holy? Like, how great is that song? Like, people be like, what? You like Justin Bieber? That's so weird, man. Like, now who cares? No one cares. Just listen to what you like,
We've gone to a point where we listen just everything and anything. Like, when I put in Apple Music, you have your radio station. It's music. It just plays music that you like and music that it's similar to what you listen to. When I put mine, it'll go anywhere from like Kiss to Coldplay to Green Day, then Swedish music. Because I listen to a lot of Swedish music. And then it'll go to like Icelandic music, which we have been listening to a
a lot of Icelandic. Daddy Freyr.
Daddy Freyr. Shout out to Daddy Freyr.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's just like, you know, listen to what you want. And because of that, like because of that mentality, now that we're older, you know, you could really like pull things that you like from every genre.
Yeah.
Just little things like, oh, I really like that little, like the little thing they do in the background of that song, like a little piano piece that's playing, you know, and you're just like, just pull it in, just draw everything that you like and put it into, you know, your music. And I feel like we've kind of done that. Even when we were recording, we were trying to think of like what genre we would be, you know, like we didn't have we weren't really pop punk. We're not super fast paced pop punk. We're not punk. We're not pop. Like we're not rock. We're kind of, so we describe ourselves as pop rock, you know, like we're kind of mellow in a way, when, you know, and it's just easy to listen to, like easy on the ears, I guess we find at least. And it kind of, so a couple of the stations that are playing us, one of them is a pop radio station and one of them is a rock radio station. So we kind of like got that the good in between, you know, and hearing that both those radio stations like our stuff, it's totally different radio stations that like never play the same music. It kind of like made it all make sense to us, and we were just excited. We're like, this is exactly what we wanted. Yeah. Like, this is really cool that we could be a part of two totally different like genre radio stations, and with the same song. Like, it's not even a different song; it's the same song on both stations. And we're like, yeah, this is like, it's crazy that this is kind of what we were talking about in the studio. We're like, who do you think would like this? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's easy to listen to. I feel like most people could just listen to it and enjoy it, you know, and not to say like, you know, we're the best, you know, we're definitely not, but like, I'm not, you know, tooting my own horn or anything. We're like kind of in between a bunch of genres, and it's definitely because of all of our backgrounds, you know, and we're just like appreciating music as a whole and not like specific genres. It's kind of allowed us to really make an album that incorporates everything. And again, like, when we ask people about our album, the best part is everyone has a different favorite song, you know, and that's kind of what also we were going for. It was like, we don't want everyone to have the same favorite song. We want every song on the album to be unique enough so that people can be like, this is my favorite song, this is my favorite song, that's my favorite song. And it's great hearing people come to you and be like, oh yeah, this is my favorite song. Like, we weren't expecting them to like that song, but they do. And it's like that we didn't even know. Like, at the time, we were like, this song isn't sounding very good right now. Like, maybe after the mix, you know. And then they're like, this is my favorite song. And you're like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, that happens. That does happen. I like that you guys have all different influences and kind of recognize that it created this wonderful identity crisis, which was kind of frowned upon in the gatekeeper age of the industry, right?
Yeah. For real.
But, and then, you know, a good song is a good song. If it's a good song and it has any, you know, hint of whatever genre, whether it's pop or rock, then it's going to translate to any radio station. Like, back to what you were saying about Iris, great song. You got to be in the mood for it. But that song went number one on Billboard because, well, I shouldn't say because, but one of the things that helped was it was number one on every station. That song just translated over to the rock station, the pop station. Everyone was like on board with that song, right? And as I was listening through to your guys' album, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, they're really going there. Nice. I'm down with that. Oh, they're bringing it. Oh, a shredding solo. Okay, cool. Let's do it. And that.
More of
and if you think about it, that is what the definition of interesting is, and that's all that you want to that's all you want to be with your music, is interesting to a mass audience. And so I was constantly like, oh, that's interesting. It's only going to get better as you guys go, as you guys clash more influences, and, you know, at some point, you know, not to say it's going to be all roses, you know, there's probably going to be there's going to be headbutting because of that same thing, but that's what creates some of the greatest songs ever. You know, you hear all these stories of like, oh, this album really almost broke our band apart because we were so on different pages.
Yeah.
like even self-titled by Blink-182, probably their greatest album in most people's opinion. That's subjective, but that was an album that was like, you know, they were really kind of resentful towards each other as they took a year to create that album, and there was a lot of things that there was a lot of different genres pulled in from all the different members. So, you know, keep that identity crisis clash of genres going. You know, never let Kurt Reston be, no, that's not Kurt Reston enough. You know, one of the things that.
Sorry, continue.
Sorry, one of the things that I've been learning through these stories of, you know, listening to the behind the scenes of artists during my quarantine is what you should be after is, am I really going there? Or is that really what my new song is going to sound like? That's way different. Because if it makes you feel almost uncomfortable and out of
your comfort zone,
out of your comfort zone, or what you think your fans want from you, if you're going towards that edge, then that is going to create an interesting perspective for your fans. There might be a bunch of people who are like, ugh, I don't like that song, like they're going towards that genre that I hate, but they'll come around, they'll appreciate something about it, or they'll appreciate the rest of the album. So I mean, keep that coming.
Yeah, I mean, like, even for me, like, my mentality writing songs especially is like, if it sounds good, it sounds good. Like, I personally don't care about like the genre. Like, I'll have a lot of acoustic stuff even, you know, that's probably going to be on the next album, and I'm like, it's not like my typical style of like punk or like pop rock, you know, it's nice acoustic stuff. I'm like, this is a good song, why can't I put it? And I love having this mentality, and I hope I never lose it, of like, I really, like, if I like the song, then I'm happy with it, you know what I mean? And I'll put it out, and it doesn't matter what it sounds like, it doesn't matter what, like, you know, people are expecting. If it's a good song, someone's gonna like it, and like, if one person connects with it, I'm like, then I've done my job, you know.
And some of the most successful bands is the same thing, you know. Bands like the two main bands that I'll quote like that are for sure Coldplay. You know, every album sounds different, and it's because every album they take a different inspiration. Or Weezer is another band that's like that too. Every album they explicitly said, so this album we were very inspired by hair metal, and then the whole album just sounds like Bon Jovi mixed with Weezer. You know, every different Weezer album is very different. It's just that's something I really admire. As well.
And like for us too, I find a lot of it is like, it's weird because, you know, with the mixing and mastering process, obviously it makes your album, you know, flow. Like you kind of have like a general idea of what the way the album should sound, but I feel even our music is like, we don't go album to album for like you know, genre / inspiration. It's more like song to song, you know, because when I'm writing, I'm not in a like, okay, everything has to be like the same style, everything has to be the same style. I'm like, no, if it sounds good, it sounds good, and it's gonna go on the record, you know. And I really like that, having such a wide range of different styles on the same record, because that just adds to the thing of like, one person's favorite song might not be someone else's favorite song, and I like that. Like, I'd rather have all of my songs be listened to by people that enjoy them, instead of like have two songs that are, oh yeah, those are the massive whatever hit, and no one likes any of the other songs because they all sound the same, you know. Having all different variety just really I love it. I mean, I personally love it, and I love when other bands do that too. But then again, I get into the mood where I'm like, I just want to listen to Yellow Card, just the entire album all the way through.
Right.
Just straight pop punk, you know, like. But still.
But even their biggest album, Ocean Avenue, crosses between almost like a East Coast, you know, maritime style on a couple songs, and then they bring it back to like literally a punk beat, and then they got some metal tones in there. So I mean, any great album, that seems to be the case. And it's funny because that's when we were shopping around my newer stuff on Rosedale, self-titled, and again, a lot of the feedback we were getting was like, this guy's got to pick a lane and stick to it. Like, it seems kind of like an identity crisis from like the labels and stuff and programmers that we were sending it to. And I was like, I'm taking that as a compliment. Like, I like that. I like that everyone has a different favorite song as well, because I feel that way about some of my favorite albums. Some of my favorite albums, I always skip about 2 songs on because they're just, I'm not in the mood for that song at the time, but I know that the next one I totally am. Which is fine, and like that comes from having a wide range of influences. And to your point of like the Weezer and Coldplay thing, perfect example where like every album they were just like, whatever, we're Coldplay, let's go for it, you know. They have no worries or cares to think outside of their genre. And the label's not going to tell them any different. They've been funding that label.
Basically now they have full control.
EMI is Coldplay EMI.
Right. So that's interesting, and I'm glad that you guys are on that path, and I'm glad that I can have new artists that are of that mindset on this podcast. You guys obviously have some good heads on your shoulders, and you're not just in it for to make it to the top as quick as possible, or what genre is the cool genre at this point in time. I mean, there's still a lot of people who like pop, rock, a genre that I feel like kind of just disappeared after MySpace was one of my favorites, power pop, as a lot of people named it. And like, just that name alone works with me. Power pop, hell yeah.
What a great name. What a great genre.
But that's something that I commend Kurt for. I think he has a vision for what's coming, because a lot of people will hear, like, let's say an album will come out from a famous artist today, and then people would say, oh, that sounds good, I'm gonna make my music sound like that. But if you're doing that, you're already too late, because the album's already out. But Kurt is kind of like ahead of the curve, where he was thinking about these songs and this genre and this type of music maybe like a year or 2 in advance. And now it comes out.
Further.
But now it comes out, and then you see things like Machine Gun Kelly's new album sounds just like that as well. So he's on beat. He's not like, he didn't listen to Machine Gun Kelly's album and said, oh, this is a good genre, maybe we should pony off of it. No, like he's coming out at the same time because he's like ahead of the curve. He has the vision for it, and some of the songs he's writing right now for that second album, they're sounding a bit different than the first album. They're maybe a bit more poppy at certain extents, or they're just different. But it's just I can see it being something how pop songs or the songs on the radio will be sounding by the time they come out as well. Like, he's not piggybacking off of what's popular now. He kind of seems to know what's coming.
Well, yeah.
Sitting there, like, taking the compliments. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's tough to take that much tire pumping. But I'll say that I don't think you're psychic, Kurt. I think you're just to give you more compliments. I would say that you're just making music that you want to make. That was my point. Is like, just make the music that you want to hear. If you're listening to your mixes back and you're stoked that you sound like all of your favorite artists combined, that's all that really matters. And if it resonates with people, you lucked out. Great. But if it doesn't, maybe it will in a couple years. Maybe maybe the few people that it does resonate with, back to my low competition stance, you're just competing with less. If there's no one else making power pop, the few people who are looking for power pop are going to be like, oh, have you heard this new Kurt Reston album? He sounds like, some of the songs sound like Boys Like Girls to me, which I was a huge fan of. Especially that first record, that self-titled record they made. Like, it's got, some swing songs to it. It's got some upbeat power pop hooks all over it.
I love that album. Matt and I, our drummer, like, we would listen to that on our way to shows all the time. We just listened through the whole album. Nice. We're like, I love this. It's so fun. And
so freaking catchy.
Yeah, we definitely pulled inspiration from them too.
Nice. I see that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think we got a lot of good stuff. I'm gonna wrap up here. Thank you guys so much for your time, taking the time out of your weekend to talk with me and be on the podcast.
Anytime. I wish we could have been there, but I guess this works too, you know. better safe than sorry.
I was a little bummed out. I was gonna make some quesadillas. I got some beers ready to go.
Don't tell us this now.
Get in the car.
Get in the car. We'll be there in 5. Yeah. 5 hours.
5 hours. Right. Yeah. No. You know what? This works out. To drive all the way out here. You know, God forbid you get a speeding ticket or something. Let's.
You know what? It would have been worth it. We were looking forward to it.
Pay for it.
Yeah. No, we would have split it. We were, I don't know. I was looking forward to it, you know, since the day we organized it. So I was super pumped. We have a buddy in Toronto as well that we were gonna hook up with, you know, and so it would have just been nice to get out there, even if we're there for 4 hours and then driving for 10, you know, like it still would have made the trip worth it. Also, just to get out of Montreal for a bit, you know, with all the everything going on, but.
Man, never mind. I wish I could have gone there. That place is paradise. I'm like, I don't even want to go to sleep when I'm there. I'm soaking in every minute. I'm like, oh, I love it here, and you guys are so nice to me every time I'm there. So, yeah, thank you again for everything and being on. And anytime. You know what? I can't wait to, you know, see you guys live and start to blow up and have all the success you guys deserve. So.
Wow, thank you, man. Thanks a lot. And you know what? Thanks for having us again. And, you know, I can't wait for the next time. Maybe next time we do this, we'll, you know, podcast will be having millions of viewers. We'll be getting some more listens, and that'll, you know, piggyback. Yeah, well, that's it.
You know what? You guys are episode 12, which is really important because statistics prove that something like only 3% or some real low percentage make it past the 12th episode. But this has been such a inspiring conversation that I'm definitely going to be inspired to make episode 13. So thank you guys for making this one count.
Next milestone is 100.
All right, hey, yeah, let's go for 100, baby, all the way.
Right on, guys. All right, I'm gonna stop the recordings here. Thank you again. Signing off. State of My Art Podcast, episode 12. Thank you.
Well, that does it, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. Thanks to Kurt and Peter for their time. And thank you again to Vocalese for supporting not only my voice, but my goals as well. I'll see you all next week for another episode of State of My Art Podcast.